Hi, and welcome back to Peace. Hi, and Hi, and welcome to Coffee Beans of Love and Light with Camp Sill. The coffee's a little cold now, so I'm not going to be drinking it. So this morning I went outside and I meditated and I connected to Source, like I do before I do any card painting, creating. I didn't know what to expect. It's kind of rainy. It feels like it's about to rain. That's why I moved inside. But anyway, when I was meditating and I got to that place that I go, it's like an in-between place. It's really hard to describe. But it's where I go and I get these images, and that's what I paint. So I was sitting there and I got 3 images. And I came in, I didn't paint them, I just drew them in my book. So the first one I'm going to try to show you. All right, so here you see this here. It's a pyramid. It's like the pyramid of protection. And it was the sun, it was coming down into the point. And then there was this portal that opened up, and it was like a crystalline light that swirled around. And this was me or any person, because it could have, I was meditating for this video. So whoever watches this. So now it's like this beam of light, crystalline light coming around, surrounding. And that's like what I call for protection. So then I did sit and write things out on my phone. All right, so the sun hit the pyramid point in a beam of light. A radiant, swirling coil of crystalline light came through a portal at the top. The crystalline light surrounded the person facing the pyramid, but also inside the pyramid. It was just this really bizarre image. It was like being in the pyramid, but outside the pyramid. So it was as if this protection was all around. So even with just the intention, it was a huge energy. And the feeling I got was stay centered within the heart. Grounding. Then I thought, okay, grounding oneself came. Ah, cool. And it was this image where feet were growing down. Okay, so it was a person reaching up for the sun. All right, let me show. I did kind of draw that picture vaguely. All right. So, oh, can you see it? So there's like, this is the earth here. All right, let's see. Maybe it's better this way. So this is the earth. All right. And then there's the person here looking up. See, they're looking up. And there's the sun, and they're holding the sun. And their feet are going down, and the feet are through the earth, and it's like your feet are holding the core of the earth, holding down, keeping it centered into the earth, grounded. Feet growing down to the center of the earth, wrapping around the earth's core. It was like holding the fire red core between the feet. It was like that energy flowing. And then I felt that flowing up to the root chakra. So it was this pure grounding energy. From there it went to, I saw, it looked like a Native American Indian. And then I heard White Eagle. And he was standing with a spear or something. And he was just looking. And I could see the left side of him, like more than the right. And he was standing. And he had these big, huge wings that looked like an eagle's. But they were white. And then he was dark. So he was like the eagle. And then, so I was like, okay, I'm going to look up White Eagle. And that was really an interesting, that was interesting. So I opened my eyes, and I looked up. Just as I did, a big black crow flew over. And I know that's how you can get messages from spirits. And I know that the black crow, the symbology of it, what the Native Americans or felt about them is that they could communicate with the dead. So that's why they're always looked at negatively, because they're associated with death. So then I started to go, oh, interesting. So here I am, the pyramid vision, and I saw that card that I have, which is the universal unity with the pyramid and the eagles. And I was thinking, so it was more like having courage and feeling that protection to keep going forward, transforming spiritually. It's like, because every challenge that you go through, it's an awakening. It it creates an opportunity for you to expand and grow spiritually. So what else did I write about this? So then I went and I looked up black crows. All right, crows show up to let you know there's spiritual shifts are happening. So these whole images are showing that a spiritual shift is happening. And the white feather Indian is there to show you that you are protected. The white feather, there's a story, a folklore white feather story, and it's how there was this Indian that had the white feather, and his whole well, before he did, his whole family was killed. I hope I can redo this story. But his whole family was killed. So he was a baby, and his grandfather, the only person that he ever knew, raised him. And the grandfather taught him everything. He taught him how to be a great hunter. So he saw, there was one day he was out in the woods, and he saw like a man, but the bottom half of him was a tree root, which I was like, whoa, here I'm seeing the imagery of the tree roots going down with the feet and growing roots, because I always see it as brown, but this time they were feet. But it was like, I found that fascinating. So that this being that was grounded to the earth showed up to this Indian. He says, you're going to be really great. You're going to go to sleep, you're going to wake up, and you're going to have this magical white feather. Put that on, you're going to have this magic. So you'll be able to slay any of the giants that killed your family, because there was like 7 of them, I think. So he goes out and he's like able to kill 6 of them. The 7th one, before he meets them, that mystical being that's a tree comes back and says, hey, there's going to be some trouble. So you're going to really be careful. There's going to be a woman. Turn yourself into, I don't know, an elk, I think was the animal. So he sees this beautiful woman turns himself into an elk, because he has this mystical, magical feather that he put on his forehead. So now he has the power to but then this woman, this disguised giant into this beautiful woman, convinces the Indian, because now the being said, don't look in the eyes. Oh my God. He looked in the eyes. That was it. He turned himself back into a man. Has his, thinks he's just in heaven and love. And so now the giant captures him. It takes this, he falls asleep. He's so in love that he falls asleep. So this giant takes the feather and thinks that's where all the power is. So I found that interesting. It's like people try to take your power, but once you have that power, no one can take it from you. Okay? Anyway, so now as the story had gone, there was the white feather was gone, and then he turned him into a dog. The giant woman turned him into a dog. So there were these 2 sisters. One just fell in love with the giant, thinking that he was, because he transformed into a handsome guy. So she took that one, and the other sister, because there were two sisters, and they knew this white feather was coming because he was an imposter. So people stealing the identity or trying to become like somebody else without doing the work. They just want to make it easy. But white feather had done the work that was required. So now there's the giant, the two sisters. One makes her house just so gorgeous in preparation for meeting this, because she wants to lure him into her house because she wants to marry this giant that she thinks is white feather, because she thinks she's going to have some advantages because of that. So then there's the other one, the other sister, who just keeps it real. She doesn't do anything special. So the dog, because now white feather is really a dog, a mystical dog though, comes into the village with the giant that's disguised as white feather, a handsome man with a feather on his head. Okay, so now the sister catches the eye, the one that wanted to, of the giant imposter. They get married. And then the dog, the other sister, she just takes the dog in because she's like, I can't just leave this dog here. So anyway, the dog and the giant, they're now trying to provide for their wives. So the giant just can't catch anything. He's not able to hunt. Because he never practiced. He never had that in his heart. He didn't have that feeling, the vibration of knowing where to go, what to move, right? So he kept coming back empty-handed, and the sister, who thought it was white feather, was getting a little bit like, what's up? What? But the sister who took in the dog, the real white feather, he could go out and he was bringing back food and beaver and, rabbits. So now the giant's like, well, what the hell? I'm going to follow him in the woods, and how's he doing it? So he follows the dog into the woods, and they come to a river. And he's just hiding behind a tree, and he's seeing the dog at the river, who pulls out a rock. And the rock turns into a beaver. So the giant goes, oh, so that's how he's doing it. I'm going to do that. So he waits for the dog to leave. Dog brings home the beaver, and him and his wife enjoy a meal. So now the giant imposter goes down to the river, pulls out a rock. It's a beaver. Oh my God. So he attaches it to his belt. He goes home, says to his wife, okay, I'm home. Where's my drink? Yeah, right. But anyway, he's like kind of pushing her around. So she goes out to get the kill so she can clean it and prepare it. And there's a rock attached to the belt. And she's like, what? There's no food. It's just a rock. There's no fox. There's no beaver, whatever. So this went on for a while. So now this wife is just PO'd because her husband, who she thinks is white feather, isn't coming through. So he was making off that he was somebody that he wasn't. How's that working out for him, right? He wasn't being his authentic self. Now the dog was being his authentic self. He knew he had this magical powers, and he didn't care that he was a dog. So now the sister goes and complains to her dad, the one that's husband's bringing rocks. But now she's seeing that, hey, wait a minute, my sister's with a dog. I got to complain about that. So he goes to the father, and instead of telling him about her husband, who can't deliver anything except rocks, who's kind of gaslighting her, trying to make her think something is what it is when it's not. So now she goes and starts to bitch about her sister to the father, about how she's taken in this scraggly dog and that's not good for her. So that's like the Budinsky, sticking your nose in other people's business. Like if somebody's happy, let them be happy. So All right. So now the father goes, and he's like a magical wizard kind of guy. So he does some kind of test. And I don't remember the test of the story. But anyway, the wizard, the imposter giant, gets discovered. The dog, oh, I know what it was. So the wizard says, all right, I'm going to make them smoke from this peace pipe or whatever. Who knows what's in it? But it's supposed to bring out the truth. So the dog, the chief hands the pipe to the dog. The dog's like, no, 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 hand it to him first. So that guy does, and he breathes it in. He's got the white feather. Nothing happens. So now he's discovered. So he's puffing his chest out all the time, talking about his great gifts, what he can do, what he can do, but it's all talk, no action. So now he's discovered. So now he's feeling shame and regret, and the giant is called out. In the meantime, so now the dog sucks the pipe. So now these birds, oh, I forgot this too, part of the story. Pigeons were part of it. So all these pigeons would fly out of him. So anyway, these pigeons fly out of him when he takes the puff of smoke, and then he turns into white feather. Oh no, he says he gets his voice back because when something made his voice go away. Anyway, so they give him the feather. He says, "Give me the feather." He gets his voice back. Give me the feather, and he turns back into white feather, himself. It's discovered that he is who he is, and that the imposter is not real. So, and then they all lived happily ever after. Oh no, no, what they did, it's kind of brutal. So now they take the giant, the father, the chief, and he turns him into a dog. And then he orders the dog out into the square where all the boys are allowed to stone the dog, which I think is kind of harsh because you don't want to hurt anyone. But it was kind of like saying there was so much shame, and it was like that revenge. Like, what did it really get you? So when you go out onto a revenge kick, it can it can create like a beast. So you chase in the beast, and then the beast catches you, and then you get kind of stuck. Like you're stuck, but you want to try to get out. So this vision, the long story short, that I had this morning with the pyramid of protection, the grounding yourself, white feather Indian, who he was the guardian of the light, protector of the light workers, courage and determination. So as long as you have courage and determination, you will find your place in the world where people recognize you for who you are and they accept you for who you are. So with that, I say namaste and look out for those white feathers, because that's the feather of shame. There's another whole story about that, when white feathers are given. So take a deep breath. No one ever died of shame or embarrassment. It just feels like you're dying. And that's just shedding the old spiritual. It's shedding the old so that you can bring in the new, so you can raise to higher places, like to elevate your consciousness to greater and more wonderful heights. With that, I say namaste and thank you for sitting through the creation of 3 new cards. Thank you.